314-969-9797. I'll get to your phone calls on this in just a minute. Right now, I want to switch gears a little bit. We had a guest scheduled here. Jeff Manasso is joining us from Fox News Radio. And Jeff, I've talked a lot about sanctuary status in some of these different cities around the country. Down in Austin, which is where the University of Texas is centered, they're fighting with the state. Is that correct, over sanctuary status?
Well, it's not necessarily the county as much as the new sheriff of
All right.
Travis County. Sally Hernandez, a Democrat, who was in a bitter battle with fellow Democratic rivals in the primary. They dubbed her Sanctuary Sally, and she wasn't clear on what she would do in terms of her policies in regards to illegal immigrants in the state. Well, we now know that we now know what her policies are, as she announced on the day that President Trump was inaugurated, that she won't honor immigration and customs enforcement detainers, as you know, would hold illegal immigrants in jail until ICE agents could, take them into federal custody.
Right.
She says unless, they're accused of a major crime. Governor Greg Abbott has called the sheriff's sanctuary policies, which go into effect today, by the way, reckless and dangerous, saying that Hernandez will forfeit almost $2 million in state funding, which is also controversial because then, you talk about, safety and security of the people in Travis County. But that's his threat. She's going to forfeit almost $2 million in state funding if she fails to follow federal law. The governor also vowed last week to also pursue legislation to remove from office any official who promotes sanctuary cities.
I would think, not looking in a map right now, but understanding that large parts of Texas have a problem with illegal crossings, that in Texas, even more so than in a place like San Francisco, where they've declared themselves a sanctuary city, that this would be a public safety issue. I mean, I'm not quite sure how the sheriff can completely decide that she's not going to even deal with ICE. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, certainly in Texas, it's a border state. They've got more issues as it relates to illegal immigrants. In fact, Sally Hernandez, Sheriff Hernandez, part of her explanation was that, she would turn over violent criminals, people accused of, rape, murder, and other, major crimes. That actually happened. An illegal immigrant was caught crossing into the border, a guy who was wanted for a murder of a young woman years ago, and he's been caught, turned over to Sheriff Hernandez, who's holding him for trial. So she is cooperating when it comes to major crimes. But look, Chicago. Well, I guess we have problems here with immigrants as well. But in Texas, like Arizona, like New Mexico, like California, Arizona, they've got the biggest problems as it relates to illegal immigration, the drugs being trafficked into those states, and so. The onus really is on the leadership of those states, like Governor Greg Abbott in Texas, to crack down and use the law that is afforded to him. And in this particular case, he's cracking down on anybody who considers themselves a sanctuary city. He's cracking down on any officials with sanctuary policies out of the notion that people in his state need to be safe.
Sure.
And so, obviously, this is going to be a contentious battle not only in Texas, but it's going to be playing out throughout the country. You've got, people in California talking about being a sanctuary state. Then what? It's not going to go away anytime soon. But once the feds, start pulling the billions of dollars away from major cities like San Francisco and L.A., and gosh, who knows? I mean, if the governor of California signs something that says they're going to be a sanctuary state, it's just.
I agree with you completely, Jeff Manasso. Thanks so much for your report.
You bet.
Yep. Thanks for the information.